Hello, my friends. Jacob's here one more time. Thank you for pressing the play button, for spending a little quality time with me. I hope you had an amazing holiday if you're in the States. July 4th is supposed to be a time that is just such excitement and such adventure. And if you're anything like me, when you heard the news about the terrible flooding that just happened in Texas, where a Christian all-girls camp was flooded, and I mean, it's just a tragedy what happened. You know that it kind of puts a damper on, the festivities.
Part of an RV park, and the owner told me they were lined up along the riverbank for the 4th of July holiday, but there was no warning for them to get out in time, and all of them washed down the river. Washed down the river. Residents were told to evacuate and move to higher ground.
Of the over 700, we have a number of about 23 not accounted for.
It happened at 4 a.m. in the morning, and this terrible flood that has left now 27 dead. I think 27 campers are still missing. Something to that extent. The numbers continue to change. It's got a lot of people right now praying and, reconsidering even sending off their children to camps like this. A camp like this that's been around since 1920s, a primarily Christian camp. It's called Camp Mystic. It gets its name because of the mist that comes off of the Guadalupe River. Of course, you remember Guadalupe is a very, very famous name. Many connect it to honoring the Virgin Mary, Guadalupe. It actually literally means the place of wolves. But this flood that just came in totally unexpected and left a lot of people unaware, it has some people questioning some things. Some people that are already influencers on X and other platforms that are saying that it's weather manipulation. Well, the Guadalupe River is known for its lore having to do with, rapidly rising waters and it being connected to spirits, if you will. But what I have to share with you today is a little stranger, because exactly 60 weeks and 6 days before Camp Mystic's tragic news breaks, there was a horse named Mystic Dan who won the Kentucky Derby. I know it doesn't seem like there's much of a connection here, but the year before, Mage won, and Mage, you understand, is a mage is like a wizard, a sorcerer. So 2023, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, Mage, which connected to MAGA, which is all over the news today, whether you are MAGA or not MAGA. MAGA means sorcerer. It's also the highest form of, it's the highest level in Satanism as well. It is connected to the Magi that found Jesus, came to Christ, helped people find Jesus, and honored the child that was born. So not to diminish and make it sound like it's all terrible, but Mystic, I actually put a post out about it, and I did a whole video about it. Actually, the irony is the horse race, the Kentucky Derby, I thought Honor Marie was going to win. I put a post out 60 weeks, 6 days earlier, Honor Marie, because of course at the time and still present today, there are a lot of people that really worship Mary. Guadalupe is connected to the worship and the honoring of Mary. So the connection of Mystic Dan winning this race, Dan, which means one of the tribes of Israel, means God is my judge. A mystic, which I've talked about on the show before, St. John the Revelator was called a mystic. Jesus, in some circles, was called a mystic. I even talked about it in my show about Mystic Dan winning the race. Take a look. But there is a battle going on right now. It is a spiritual one, and I feel like the enemy is advancing, fast. And we just had the Kentucky Derby. Speaking of the Force, and speaking of wizards and mystics, that's who won. My pick was wrong. I thought it was going to be like a Marie, like Honor Marie, or whatever the name of that horse was. But Mystic won. mystic. Do you know what a mystic is? A mystic is a person who seeks contemplation and self-surrender. Can't make sense of tragedies like this. For as it was in the days of Noah, people were eating, drinking, laughing, dancing, shooting archery, stuff like that. Then the flood came. People weren't ready until the day that Noah entered the ark, until Christ comes, until Christ is revealed. So it will be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. Has to do with, God being revealed in the world. And we know that God works all things together, even tragic events, for the good ultimately. And I know that nothing that is ever lost isn't one day found. I think to myself how terrible this is because I have 4 children. And, these young girls, this is a Christian camp, which by the way, at the camp right near the Guadalupe River, which surged to something like 26 feet. They do horseback riding and stuff like that. The camp usually goes for about a month. There was some reports going around that, you could pay for 2 weeks and spend maybe about $6,000, but usually the month goes for about $5,000. And, camps can be expensive, but this is a sleepaway camp. So this is basically, you send your 7-year-old or your 8-year-old, 9-year-old, I believe it goes up to 16, and you send them away and they sleep over there. And there's a lot of studies that say that these things are really great. I, for one, never sent my kids. First of all, I didn't have the money to be sending my children away to sleepaway camp or anything else, but I couldn't imagine my 7-year-old just being, under the guidance and of, camp counselors that I met online or I've read reviews about. Just, to me, and I know a lot of parents do this. I was a latchkey kid. I was raised at the boys club. I know how awesome it is to learn how to shoot archery. I was an archery instructor when I was younger. I was a camp counselor too. So I get it. But this is a terrible event, and should have been. When you pay for these services, you should know that your children are safe. They got the flash flood warning, but many times in Texas, you get the warning on the phone. You're like, it turns out to be nothing. So you don't really worry about it. But there's mixed reviews going on over whether or not they had enough time or they didn't, because the National Weather Service issued a flash flood watch 12 hours in advance. So there was plenty of time for people to, if they took it seriously, to get to high ground. I don't really know exactly how all this went down, but I do know that they said it came on so quickly. The Guadalupe River surged to 26 feet in just 45 minutes, catching so many people off guard. Camp Mystic. It's just strange, especially since Mystic's been, kind of in the news. There's a Mystic Mayhem new game. Then there's talk because of the Fantastic Four movie coming out that, the Fantastic Four is going to be in Mystic Mayhem. And, it's just been promoted. Mystique. It's mysticism. The way of mysticism, or the way of the mystic, was trending on X. Seems to kind of be in the air. In my post back then, you can read it right there. I felt like we were entering a time of the mystics. Mystics like a Jedi, if you want to put it that way. But this is a terrible thing. And you do question why these things happen. And you say to yourself, as someone who believes that God is in charge of everything and works all things together for the good, how do you express to everyone that things are going to be okay? Well, you have to have faith. Storms are going to come. In fact, flooding it's been happening since the beginning of time. The great flood of Noah that no one expected. It came when people weren't watching. And this is the thing that we're supposed to watch. We're supposed to watch. We're supposed to wait. But we have these events that they happen and we become so, numb over them that it becomes more like we're just watching some kind of a show. And it's like, what's the next thing that's going to happen? But it's a terrible event. But I got to tell you, there is some controversy surrounding this camp. In fact, this one, it's owned by the Eastland family, and they got a stain on their name because James Eastland, who died in the late 80s. He's a big name. He's a former Mississippi senator. He was known as he was a segregationist. Go figure, right? And he was kind of like, they called him the godfather of Mississippi politics. So, we're not saying that the people that run it now, because they're obviously relatives, we're not saying that that's the way they are. We're not saying that this Christian camp was like, it was a bad, evil camp. No, these are just young children. God sends the rain on the just and the unjust. But there's something for us to learn from it. Why did it happen? Where did it happen? And what are we supposed to learn from it? This camp offered devotionals. It offered prayers. It had morning devotionals. It also had Catholic Mass and Sunday Vespers. They focused on spiritual growth through singing, sculpture, applying lessons in life, horseback riding, the typical camp stuff. But this is really, people are reeling from this right now, and I'm sure that we're going to hear more and more and more about it. And of course, all the other videos that you're going to see pop up are going to be about, it's weather manipulation, and it's this, and it's that. This stuff has been happening for a long, long time. And the fact that houses are being swept away and entire neighborhoods are now destroyed, it gives me a chance to say thank you, Lord, for what I have. And to remember that everything in life is so temporary. And that's why it's so important to keep watch and not be like those that are like, you know what, I'm going to send my kids off to camp for a month and, not worry about it. Take a month off from my children. Not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying today it just seems, I feel like families should stick and be a little closer together. Everyone that was at that camp was in danger because they were at that camp instead of being home with their parents. And they're not bad parents for sending them to camp, because I know children love camp. And I know that this is a tradition with a lot of people to do it. But for whatever reason, people are going to rethink these types of camps in the future, especially when we have these weather events happening again and again. But you got to tell me in the comment section and let me know what you think. Because I hate hearing about stuff like this. And it's like, I have so many people that reach out all the time. Ryan, Julie Waysayer's husband, she just had a terrible surgery with her back and she's coming home. He just reached out to me and, wanted to let us all know that, they're going through something hard right now. But thank God she's on her way home. I get so many emails and so many of you reach out to me with the things that you're enduring, the things that you're going through, and the victories that you have in your life. But you got to remember, even at your lowest point, you will be higher one day, and when you're higher, you will be low again. This is the period of time that we're in. It's a time of growth. I know that I got my fig tree in the backyard, and I know that it's gone through hell in a handbasket for the last, I don't know how many years. But it's like even right now, there's this invasive species of lantern bugs that I have to worry about, aphids. And what do we see yesterday on the fig tree? Because they love fruit trees. See them. So I have to be careful, and I got to go in with the neem oil, and I got to shoot every one of these jumping bugs. And I'm going, what else, Lord? Because, of course, I see everything as symbolic and spiritual. And I hope you do too, because life is exciting. And it is also tragic. But it is also wonderful. So we're going to pray for these families. We're going to pray for the situation. It's a strange coincidence. 60 weeks, 6 days, Mystic Dan, 150th Kentucky Derby. And the news was 150 were airlifted out. It's just a strange connection. And it makes me say, okay, well, why? Because I guess if you look for things, you can find them. Or is there more? Maybe we need to stop putting our faith in the mystic camps, and maybe we need to just put our faith back in God. You know what I mean? All right, listen, I love each and every one of you. I hope that you do have the best day ever. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for the super thanks. Thank you for the PayPal. Thank you for signing up for Patreon. We're doing it. I have my videos still coming out. I'm editing it right now. And I also have, oh my goodness, this is going to be huge. A huge guest coming on the show. Huge. This is it's going to be like two worlds meet. You're going to be so shocked. I can't wait to share it with you. I'm taping with them on Monday, so be excited for this because it's going to be a collab, and then I'll end up actually on their channel. He's one of the headliners at SpiracyCon is what it's called. I'm not selling tickets for it. They invited me to speak. I couldn't do it because Ethan's birthday is on the 23rd, and my anniversary is the 24th, so I couldn't miss the birthday and the anniversary, even though I'd love it. But I'm probably going to be at the next one. It's coming up, but I'm going to have him on soon, so it's exciting. It's exciting. I feel like there's a lot happening right now in the world and in the body of Christ, if you will, which is all of you. So, I love you. Thanks for what you do. If you want to support the channel, all the links are in the description of the video. Get yourself a copy of The Calling, the novel, at Amazon.com. Get yourself some truly free home products. Go to trulyfreehome.com. Get the stuff. They're right now offering a huge deal, and you get like 30% off if you use code Jacob. Anything you want, the merch, all the stuff in the description of the video, all right? I gotta go. Pray for these people. Pray for yourselves. Love, forgive. And if you got some hard times you're going through, let us know. And by us, I mean me, the Dan, and the kids, because I'll share it with them. Just send me a DM. Send me a message. Send me an email. Send something to me on Patreon. Just keep it short because I get so much. All right, I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.